Good evening, this is the New Dawn FM News in English, read to you by Aloysius Laukai. First, the headlines. Schools remain closed until May 4th. Bougainville flights restrictions current. South Bougainvilleans call for aid. Bana district needs urgent assistance. And state of emergency update. Now the news in detail. Universities and tertiary institutions in Papua New Guinea will commence classes according to the control of the state of emergency in PNG Police Commissioner David Manning. And for elementary, primary, secondary schools will resume classes on the 4th of May 2020. Universities and tertiary institutions classes will commence next Monday, 27th April 2020. In Bougainville, the Education Board and the Special Task Force is yet to come up with plans on how the education of children on Bougainville will be handled. According to reports received by New Dawn FM, the Arawa School of Nursing campus both in Arawa and Tanamalo will commence classes on Monday, 27th April 2020. The Special Committee on Social Services, which include education, will furnish a report on how the education sector will move in the coming weeks. State of Emergency Controller, Deputy Commissioner of Police Francis Tokura said that he was waiting for a report from the education sector for their plan on education. Flights coming to Bougainville are still restricted until further notice, according to the Bougainville State of Emergency Controller, Deputy Police Commissioner Francis Tokura. He made it clear to New Dawn FM this afternoon after a notice was issued by New Guinea on its website that flights into Bougainville will commence tomorrow. State of Emergency Controller Francis Tokura said that Bougainville will not allow any commercial flights as yet until screening and isolation facilities on Bougainville are in place. He said tomorrow a New Guinea flight is a special charter that is carrying medical equipment and no passengers. Chief Tokura said that they have given the green light for those persons approved to fly out of Bougainville on special permission. He said that persons traveling out will not return to Bougainville until the required facilities are in place. Mr. Tokura also said that the flight tomorrow will also airlift the body of a dead person to Tokwa before returning to Port Moresby. You're listening to New Dawn FM News in English. Second Secretary of the Office of the Member for South Bougainville, Chris Nawa, declared after a flood disaster in Bana district that South Bougainvilleans have been requesting for food supplies after disaster incidents, but their requests were never being answered. Mr. Nawa said the Office of the Member for South Bougainville alone has assisted South Bougainvilleans last year, but the help was not enough for the whole population. He added, since last year, 2019, Disaster Office has been receiving reports after reports upon its request, but nothing had been done in response for assistance. He said South Bougainvilleans have been waiting on the empty promises made by the National Disaster Emergency Office, but nothing has been received so far. The Second Secretary of the Office of the Member for South Bougainville, Chris Nawa, said people of Bana district are experiencing hazardous flood disaster and need immediate assistance. He said gardens and festivals have been uprooted by the flood and drinking creeks have also been destroyed, and now people are experiencing hunger and shortage of water supply. He said mothers are trying their best, ripping out what's left over from their gardens. He said this is the first time they experience very hazardous flood disaster as the flood burst out from their dam that was made naturally some weeks ago. He said Office of the Member has already contributed 50 bales of rice, 10 cartons of water and 20 cartons of noodles. Mr. Nawa is strongly appealing to the ABC government to assist the people of Bana district until their gardens are replanted and ready for the next 6 months. Now to end the English bulletin, the autonomous Bougainville government, through the Office of the Controller of the Bougainville State of Emergency and the Health Response Team, wants to assure the public that we are committed to ensuring that the COVID-19 does not enter Bougainville. The ABG Department of Health, as the lead agency, has activated the Emergency Response Plan and is being implemented by its emergency response team. This includes health experts and officials who are responsible for key actions and prevention measures. According to the PNG Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan, we are currently in Stage 2 containment level. This simply means that PNG has already had confirmed cases of the COVID-19, and to date, 8 cases have been confirmed in the country. Bougainville update on preparedness. For Bougainville's case, we are focusing our response efforts to ensure this virus does not enter our borders and to prevent at all costs any human-to-human transmission. The health response team is working around the clock to contain the situation through surveillance to identify, quarantine and isolate potential cases in Bougainville. The Bougainville Police Service and other law enforcement agencies are working hard to ensure that the public adheres to emergency orders that were issued by the controller. We therefore call upon our people once again to help us help you by adhering to the emergency orders. The restrictions being placed on movement of people and social distancing is the best way that you can help us, your families, and yourselves to stay protected from the COVID-19. We are fully aware that this pandemic has not only health implications, but is multi-dimensional and includes sectors such as economic, education, and social sectors, to name a few. In response to this, a joint task force agency against COVID-19 has been established with 9 main teams for health, security, disaster and emergency support, economic, public utilities, churches, ABG election, and development partners. These teams have developed their response strategies for the worst-case scenario in Bougainville to ensure a high level of alertness and preparedness should we have a confirmed case in Bougainville. Key institutions on Bougainville, such as the sea and airports, have activated their standard operating procedures in response to the preparedness efforts. The health response team have also intensified their awareness efforts to ensure the public receives factual and credible information and to help counter the spread of rumors and misinformation that can cause unnecessary fear and panic. We are working on making the health response hotline number become toll-free so that people across Bougainville can easily call the hotline number for any public queries or community concerns about COVID-19. We are working closely with our development partners to secure support for specific key areas such as establishment of required facilities, such as isolation and quarantine facilities. In North Bougainville, the isolation center will be built in Suhin, Agogoe constituency, Buka, and is funded by the Australian government. The Buka General Hospital Pre-Trials Center is also in construction phase with support from the Office of the National Member for North Bougainville. Calls to action. We are looking after our health workers who are the frontliners in this health crisis by providing them with the required equipment to keep them safe. You can also help our health workers with care, compassion, and simply to stay at home. We must all be supportive of one another during this time. It is important that we show care and support for our families and neighbors. Do not stigmatize or tease someone who is ill. Stigmatization can lead to people being shy or scared to seek health care immediately, and this will not help in our efforts to prevent the spread of the COVID-19. Share the correct information amongst your families and communities. If you want more information, see your local community health worker or call the Bougainville Health Response Team hotline number 744-60830. And finally, remember to practice the 5 preventive measures at all times. Maintaining social distance, a minimum of 1.5 meters, frequently washing hands using clean running water and soap or alcohol-based hand rub. When coughing and sneezing, cover mouth and nose with flex elbow or tissue. Throw away used tissue immediately and wash hands. Avoid close contact with anyone who has fever and cough. And if you have fever, cough, or difficulty breathing, stay at home, self-isolate to protect others, and call the Bougainville Health Response Team hotline number 744-60830. This ends the New Dawn FM News in English. You can also see our news on the websites on www.bougainvillenews.com, www.bougainville.taipei.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. On behalf of the news team, I'm Aloysius Laukai. You have a safe weekend.